Hello, friends! I'm Kyla, and welcome to Spread the Rainbow. Let's chat inclusive books for kids who care. This week, we are going to talk about a favorite series of mine by the author Scott Stuart. Most specifically, his books My Shadow is Pink and My Shadow is Purple. I love these books because they teach young readers that it is okay to be exactly who you are and to love and accept everyone no matter what. And that, my friends, is what we are all about here at Spread the Rainbow. Let's get started! Spread the rainbow! Spread the rainbow! Welcome, Rainbow friends, to the very first episode of Spread the Rainbow. Woo! I am so excited that you are here, and even more excited to share some wonderful books by inspiring authors with you today. Before we get started, I want to tell you a bit about how we got here. A long, long time ago, I was so young. Just kidding. Last year, actually. My grade 6 teacher assigned something called a passion project. For this project, we would focus on our interests and create something we could share. I decided to combine many things I am interested in: social justice, music, and reading. I virtually busked, which is when you sing or play music for money, but I created a website and asked for viewers to donate inclusive books for local school libraries instead. People donated a ton of books, and Project Rainbow was even featured in the local newspaper. It has been super cool seeing how many people want to support this cause. This issue became important to me because of an experience I had at school. One day, a man stood outside my school with a sign and was shouting transphobic remarks. There's also been chalk signs drawn outside my school, as well as writing in permanent marker on the stop signs nearby. It angered me so much that my school suddenly felt unsafe, especially to those who identify as 2S LGBTQIA+. And I knew that I wanted to do something about it, and that is how Project Rainbow came to be. Let's start today's episode with a tradition my school has. Every day we tell a cheesy joke to start our day with the laughter of how corny it is. So for today's cheesy joke, what do you call a magic dog? A labracadabrador. Haha, yeah? Boy, that's a knee slapper. Now that that's complete, let's get into today's episode. Let's dive into these awesome books with a bit of a summary. For My Shadow is Pink. His dad's shadow has always been blue. It's blue like a blueberry or the sea. But his son's shadow has always been pink. His son loves playing with ponies and princesses. They make him feel happy. But his absolute favorite thing to do is wear a dress. He loves dancing around with all the colors twirling and shimmering around him. It makes him feel like himself. Soon the first day of school is here. You have to dress up as your shadow. Immediately he knows what to wear. As he enters the classroom, everyone stops and stares. He runs away disappointed that no one accepted him for who he is. All of a sudden, his dad shows up in a sparkling dress and tells him that he can be whoever he wants to be and wear whatever makes him happy. They walk back to school hand in hand, and this time, they make it a happy ending. In My Shadow is Purple, their shadow is pink and blue. It is both, and yet it's none. Their shadow loves playing with all kinds of toys, loves dresses and suits, and enjoys glitter and ponies, but also has fun playing sports. Both are the best, they say. But when a school dance comes up, they have to choose. Should they go with the pinks or the blues? It's not fair to hide their shadow, so they decide to leave. Why did they even have to choose? Then a voice broke the silence. My shadow is yellow. Everyone starts chiming in, sharing their own shadows. Soon everyone is laughing and dancing. All colors are best. These books are so heartwarming. I love how they express gender identity and how you should celebrate who you truly are. My favorite part is the outfit they picked for the dance. The bottom was a skirt and the top was a suit. They were so excited because their mom and dad helped make the outfit. They couldn't wait to show it off and express how they were proud to be who they are. Today, I have my little brother Auden joining us. Last year, when Scott Stewart's books arrived, they became some of Auden's favorites. I had a chance to visit his class and read My Shadow is Purple. The class enjoyed it very much. I loved watching the kids listen and smile as they read along. Now to Auden. Hi, Auden. How are you today?
I'm good, actually. Thanks. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you for asking. Our first question is, did you have a favorite book out of this series?
I do. It's my shadow is purple, but my shadow is pink is also pretty good.
Oh, I also love both of those books. I can't decide. They're both so good. Our next question is, did you have a favorite part of any of the books?
I have a favorite part of my shadow is purple when they don't want to be on the purple side or the pink side or the blue side. And it's also cool that pink and blue make purple, and that's the color of their shadow.
Oh, that's also one of my favorite parts. I would have to say my favorite part of My Shadow's Pink is when the dad dresses up in a dress to show his son that he will love and support him no matter what. Our next question is, what was this book trying to teach us?
I think I was trying to teach you that you can be whatever you want, and you should love who you are, and love what other people are and feel like.
You're so right. It's very important to express and love yourself no matter what. You should always wear exactly what you want to wear and be who exactly you want to be. Our last question is, what would you ask the author?
I would ask the author, what color is your shadow?
That's a very good question, actually. Auden, what color is your shadow?
My shadow is green, and it feels like love and snuggles.
Aww, I love Love and Snuggles. I had such a fun time interviewing my little brother today. He was so cute, but it was really hard for us not to giggle through the whole thing. We actually have one more special guest for today's episode. Drum roll, please. Scott Stuart. Yes, the actual author of this series has agreed to meet with me. I am super excited and, as you can tell from the interview, extremely nervous. But Scott was so kind and friendly. He had such powerful and heartwarming messages to share. I hope everyone is as excited as I am to see him on this podcast. Let's start the interview. Hi there, Rainbow friends. I have a very special guest here today. He is the best-selling author of multiple children's books, including a favorite series in my house, My Shadow is Pink, Purple, and the just-released one, My Shadow is Blue. He's even joining us from Australia. Welcome, Scott Stewart.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Your Shadow series is about being true to yourself, being kind to others, and really teaches kids that gender does not have to be so black and white. What inspired you to write these books?
So my son, when he was about 4 years old, he fell wildly in love with Queen Elsa, and who wouldn't? Because she's amazing and sparkly and magical and all things great. And he had this Elsa water bottle, and he took it to what we call like daycare, childcare, like before school care kind of thing. And somebody at that center said to him that Elsa was only for girls and he shouldn't like Elsa because he's a boy. And he came home quite upset, and I started to look for books that spoke about being a young boy who likes things like Elsa and pink and unicorns, and it was really hard to find any books about that, especially any picture books at the time. And so I was already a writer. I wasn't a published author at the time, but I thought maybe I'll write something and, see how I go. So I took 4 years to write that book. So it didn't quite go as quickly and as easily as I thought it would. But yeah, that's where the idea came from, about a young boy with a pink shadow growing up in a world where everybody has blue shadows. And then from there, I would go out and I would do like interviews and readings at schools and at libraries and all those sorts of things. And what I would do when I would read the book is I would finish reading it and I would say to everybody, what color do you think your shadow is? And every like child has a fantastic answer to this. They're always like, my shadow would be glittery gold with a unicorn tail and wings and, all those sorts of things. And I happened to be at this event where I was not the person reading the story. I was listening to somebody else read it, which was already kind of like uncomfortable for me. But I listened to them read it, and then they said, "All right, everybody, what color do you think your shadow is? Is it pink or is it blue?" And immediately, everybody in the room like kind of lost all their creativity, and they're like, "Oh, am I pink or am I blue?" And so that's where I started to look at my shadow is purple, which is of course around expressing your gender beyond just the binary of pink or blue, boy or girl. And then my shadow is blue, which is the latest one that came out. That has been the most requested book I have ever had. Everybody has been, when is blue coming out? And it took a really long time to write as well. They're only 400 words. They should be really fast to write, but they're really hard, so that's where the books came from. Sorry for the very long answer.
No, it's fine. I loved Elsa too. I would like sit on my swing and sing Let It Go. Probably annoying a lot of people around me, not gonna lie.
It's the
And
best. I was doing this big speech once, and I thought it was a 30-minute speech, but it turned out that I had to talk for an hour and I had nothing else to talk about. And so we ended up doing a full audience and myself singing of Let It Go. That's the only thing I could come up with at the time.
Oh, that's really funny. I wish I was there. I would have been belting pretty hard, not gonna lie.
Perfection.
And last year, when all the books were donated for Project Rainbow, I would read them with my little brother, and My Shadow Was Pink was his very favorite. We would just keep rereading it. I was just in his school library actually for a book fair, and I noticed the donated copy looking very worn. You can tell it's a favorite from everyone.
I love that.
Out of all the books you have written, do you have a favorite?
Oh, that's such a difficult question. I find it hard when somebody says, "What's your favorite movie?" or "What's your favorite book?" because it's just so hard for me, let alone my ones that I've created. But I think I will say that it is My Shadow is Pink, because it was really the first book that I really put all of my heart into. And I really had something that I wanted to say that I thought the world might need to hear. So that one will always hold an incredibly special place in my heart.
And I'm just gonna randomly shoot here.
No, go.
Was your son really like happy to read that book?
Yeah, he was. I won't pull it out and read it word for word, but he created me this just on his own. He created me this like a kind of certificate thing that was just saying, "Thank you so much for writing this book. I really love it. I'm really proud of you." And so it was just so sweet. And yeah, he was really thankful, I guess, but happy that it got created.
Oh, that's so sweet. And I actually, speaking of My Shadow's Blue, it was recently donated to Project Rainbow, so I'm very excited to get to read that as soon as it gets delivered. And if you had a message for anyone that is hiding their shadow, what would it be?
I think that when somebody has something about themselves that they're afraid to share with other people, often we think about, and most of us have something that we're a little bit afraid to share with others, whether we have shared it yet or we haven't shared it yet. I think what we tend to think about is all the bad things that could happen. What if people laugh at me? What if people tease me? What if I lose friends over it? But one of the things that tends to happen when you do share your shadow is you also then find the people who will love you and like you exactly as you are, and rather than having to hide yourself and find friends who like you for that fake version, you actually create friendships and relationships with people who love you exactly for who you are. So it's really, really scary too. And it's something that should be done in your own time and with safety and all the things to make you feel comfortable. But there is also, besides fear, there is an enormous amount of joy on the other side too.
Oh, that is very true. Thank you for sharing that with us. And that's also a very big reason why I started Project Rainbow. And honestly, this question is kind of for me and my brother. Are you going to keep continuing the Shadow series?
I am actually. So I have a book that I'm working on at the moment. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what it is, but it's a Halloween version of the Shadow books. And one of the things that I have been working on for the last couple of years actually is an animated TV series about it. And it's kind of at the point where we're finding out if it is going to like go ahead and appear on TV. We haven't got that final decision because it has to be made by big networks and all that sort of stuff. And so a lot of work has kind of been like shifted from books into that. And hopefully that happens. And if it doesn't, a lot of that work shall shift back to books and they will appear in book form. So, yes, we're definitely continuing the series. It just kind of depends on what that looks like, if that makes sense.
Well, I hope that both of them start. I can't believe a TV series. My little
I
brother.
know, it'd be amazing.
I'd be bragging to all my friends. I'd be like, guys, watch it.
Well, to be honest, I'd be bragging too. So
yeah, I do hope that the network series includes that because that would be awesome, and I would probably be like the number one person watching that. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, so just a random story. There has been a person near my school who has vandalized some of the signs and my school buildings with some really mean messages. It's made me very frustrated and mad. Have you ever have you ever been met with hatred about your books? What do you do in those dark moments to stay positive?
yeah, that's a really good question. So have I been met with negativity around my books? Absolutely, yes. In fact, there is a country who has made owning my book a crime. So you can go to jail for owning my book. And in that particular country. And so there's always a lot of very outspoken people who have negative things to say about some of my work. On the flip side, there is a huge, huge amount of positivity and love and support and people reaching out every day to my email or to my messages, saying, thank you so much for writing these books. It's really helped my family. So the way that I deal with the negativity is, look, the completely honest answer is, I don't deal with it particularly well. I'll receive it and I'll get sad and it will make me feel a bit bad. And then I will remember all the positivity that my work is bringing to the world and to people. And that helps me kind of go through the negativity. I do try to ignore a lot of the negativity unless it is something that I feel like it's something I can do something about. So there have been moments where there have been schools or libraries where my books have been banned or removed, and it's easy to get sad about it and do nothing, but it's also easy to write an email to the principal, like to speak to the local council and see if there's something that can be done about it. And so I try to move into what's something small that I could do to improve this situation. And that always gives me a feeling of, control's the wrong word, but it gives me something that takes my mind off the negativity, and it lets me try and bring some positivity from that, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like where somebody has spray painted something mean on a wall, like painting over it with like flowers and creating something beautiful from that. That's where I try to go, but it tends to start with a little bit of sadness first.
Yeah, I really like the idea of the painting flowers on the wall. I'm definitely gonna do that if, like, I don't know, the person comes back and vandalizes it. I've definitely, talked to my principal and stuff about it, because I always get really sad, and like sometimes like, do other people notice it, or is it just like a me thing? So I feel like now, like, the best thing to do is just, like, I did speak up for myself, and I feel like, the person has kind of been maybe talked to. I'm not sure. And now,
Sorry.
no, you go.
I was just going to say, I feel as though there is a sentiment, and it's a reasonably accurate sentiment, that one person who doesn't like something can create an enormous amount of change by like complaining about it or talking about how much they don't like it. And as an example, like at my son's school, they, as part of the curriculum, as part of the lessons, they talk about gender and things like that. And there was one parent who reached out not happy about it, and it started to throw into question whether or not these lessons would continue. And all the people who do support it tend to often be quite quiet, and they're just looking for permission to speak out in positivity and in support. And so having somebody do something often creates like a little bit of a wave of support for it. So anything that you are doing, like speaking to the principal, like that does help others speak out as well. So it might seem like a small action, but it's actually a really big one.
Yes, and like that's exactly why I started Project Rainbow, just to try and do something small. I never really thought, I'd be making a podcast about it and like a safe space club at my school. So it's really cool to see how a small action can like equal into a bigger amount of impact.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
going on to like a happier, magicaler moment, I have to ask, recently I saw that you went to Disney, and my family are huge Disney fans. What was your favorite ride, and how about your favorite snack?
Oh, what a hard question. My favorite okay. Winnie the Pooh, the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh will probably always be my favorite. And so many people think that's such a silly answer, but I love it so much. And the California one, love it, love it, love it. And we're going to Tokyo Disneyland later this year. And apparently the Winnie the Pooh that ride there is out of this world. So I'm super, super excited to go there. But my favorite snack would have to be Cheshire cattails that you can get in, I think it's Fantasyland in Magic Kingdom at Disney World in Florida. They were, just to be honest, I had a lot of Cheshire cattails. But yeah, that's such a at the Seven Dwarves Mine Train is amazing. Pirates of the Caribbean, I think any day I'm at Disneyland or Disney World, I ride that like 15 times. It is the best. What is your favorite ride?
Oh no. Okay. So I don't know if they have this in California, but it's Flight of Passage from Avatar.
They
which is-
don't. I
You
got
have
so
to go.
sick on that. I was like, this is going to be the greatest thing ever. And instead, I was like, eyes closed, so nauseous and sick. I couldn't handle it.
Oh, and also Dumbo. I just love the Dumbo ride. We happened to be there as the fireworks were going off, so that was
Oh,
magical. And
that would be amazing. Yeah.
to add on to Winnie the Pooh, I still didn't get the chance because the line was huge. But there's these giant walls, and they're like virtual honey, so you get to like move them around. And
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like loving that so much. Like we
Is
were
that in
walking.
Florida? That's in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And like when we went recently, like my little brother was like, Kyla, why are you like looking at this honey so like intensely? I'm like, I want to touch it.
There's
Um,
characters behind the honey, isn't there? There's like once you move the honey, there's
yeah,
things
and then they're
behind it.
like
Yeah.
behind it. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, let me go on it. I don't know. And for anyone who thinks Winnie the Pooh is silly, don't.
It's the best. It's actually, so my wife and I are very, very different in terms of rides at Disneyland because I love the very gentle things, and she loves she would love Flight of Passage, but Flight of Passage, I think it was like a 2.5 hour wait. I waited in line just to make myself incredibly sick. So
Oh, and then now my last question comes from a very tiny fan, my brother Auden, whose favorite book is My Shadow is Purple. What color is your shadow, and what does your shadow feel like to you?
my shadow, I always think that my shadow is yellow because yellow to me is happiness and sunshine, and like that's all I want in the world, is so yeah, I have a very bright yellow shadow, which is also my favorite color. So
Oh, that's so cool. I'd probably have to say that mine is coral because it feels like hope.
wow.
So I love the sea, and to add on the yellow note, it's also the color of honey.
Can I just say that the coral is such a spectacular answer, and the color of hope. I've never heard that answer before, and it is fantastic.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Scott. Do you have any closing thoughts or sentences?
Look, I often get asked this, and it always kind of puts me on the spot. And then as soon as I hang up, I'm like, here's a pearl of wisdom that I wanted to share. But I will just say that I think what you are doing is spectacular. I think that we are often, especially in this kind of space, we think, what can I do? I am just one person. There's not much I can do. Well, you as a one person set up this project. And by setting up this project, you have empowered other people around you to start thinking about what's something that they could do. And a couple of those people will do something small that then impacts the people around them. And a couple of those people will say, well, what's something I can do? So it feels like we as individuals can't do much. But even with that, the little things that we do create an enormous impact. So yeah, just a huge thank you for doing what you do. And if anybody is listening, like that's the sort of thing that we'd love to see. Something small, something positive. We can all do something.
Yes, that is a great closing thought. And also back to you. Thank you for what you're doing. And thank you for all the awesome books you continue and will pursue to write. And hopefully a TV show when we like crossing my fingers every
Yes,
night.
I'm crossing everything.
And thank you so much for being able to talk to me and talk to us on the podcast. It means a huge deal to me. And I'm still honestly kind of in shock that this happened right now. And just a huge thanks to you.
I am so grateful and honestly still in disbelief that I got this amazing opportunity to be able to interview Scott for my podcast. He was so nice and kind, and I really hope you took what he said to heart and continue to spread the rainbow. I also hope you enjoyed listening to my very first episode of my podcast. Finally, before we end the podcast today, we're going to have a segment called Real Talk for Real Change. Today, in some countries, Scott Stewart's books are being banned in school libraries. In fact, in the US, a teacher was fired for reading his books to students. We can show up and spread the rainbow by purchasing Scott's books. His books would make a great birthday and baby shower gift, or even a gift for teachers. The illustrations are so beautiful and intricate. Scott's newest book, My Shadow is Blue, is available for pre-order now. In fact, someone just pre-ordered it for Project Rainbow this week, and I'm so excited to donate it once it's released. That's all for today. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to spread the rainbow. To learn more about Project Rainbow and how you can help, please see the link in my bio. This is Kyla, signing off.